update up front is the initial, we had, initially we put our CIP funds and some school construction funds towards the project initially, as well as our CARES money. Then the county then gave the two loans, a 16.3 and a $14 million loan. So all that being said, that's kind of where some of the funds came from. We have been told that the loans have earned about $900,000 in interest. Loans can only be used at Amherst County High School. The CARES funds can only be used at Amherst County High School due to how it was written up. The CIP funds and the other 900,000 school construction funds can be used anywhere that they're unrestricted. So I just want to set that up front with you right now. Yeah, we received $6.7 million through the school construction grant through the state. Again, this money cannot, but the main need to be said, this money can only be spent at Amherst County High School. I can't take this money and spend it anywhere else across the county. It's just an Amherst County High School project, and the Board of Supervisors loans can only be spent at Amherst County High School. So what we wanted to do with the 6.7 is kind of pull some of the CIP funds and those other $900,000 that we can use in other places as unrestricted, and use this to offset that cost. So it then allows for previously deducted project components to be reinstated to the project. So some things we pulled out of the project because we had to cut a few $1 million worth of items out of the project initially when working with the county on the funding. And this will allow us to take some allocated funding sources that are unrestricted to use in other schools. Again, reallocated CIP funds, we're requesting the county to let us have that 1.354 that we put in back into our CIP. And then we had roughly $2 million in a previous state grant in 2022. We've allocated about $1 million of that to high school windows and doors, but we want to pull the other $900,000 out to go to other schools in the division, which gives us about $2.255 million we can pull to use in other locations, not just at the high school. Of that 2.25, some of the projects we want to think about are restroom redesign and renovation at the two middle schools, about $500,000 each, and then replace windows at Hamelin, Amherst Elementary Central, and Timbers Elementary Schools, as well as Amherst Middle School. So that'd be about $950,000 to do that. And all those are on the CIP. We just want to move them forward on this, move those forward to now versus having to wait to do this. And then the remaining funds, these is about $305,000 we didn't allocate, almost $306,000 we did not allocate. That's just there. There are things we want to use, or we just hold that in reserve in case something pops up. That money's sitting in the CIP. Projects we wanted to reinstate were the partition in the auditorium. So remember that folding partition separates the front of the auditorium where the permanent seating, the telescoping seating. Again, instead of having permanent seating, the telescoping seating allows us to have that space in the back. So again, we only need 500 seats. We have the seating back, leaves us a larger common space in the back, or we can put the wall across and have two different learning areas as well. The brick screen wall and aluminum slat fence, that goes down Lancer Lane. And my thought here is that these are all items that are needed. We had discussed them. They're in the CIP, but they're 2 or 3 years down. But since this money can be spent only spent at the high school, we looked at what can we put back into the project at the high school with the remaining funds. So the retaining walls in the stadium, what that is down along the track in front of the field house, and also above the field house, in front of the concession stand. We get a lot of dirt and mud wash over. It washes over the track if we get a heavy rain, and it washes across the field house area there when we get heavy rain. And so we thought about putting a 3 to 4 foot retaining wall along that bank there to keep that from washing in. The handrails in the stadium, a lot of individuals have been asking, especially those that are older, have been asking for some help in the stadium as far as getting up the steps. And we wanted to put handrails in there to help with them. The Library Media Center renovation, that was last renovated in 1990. And the tables, the chairs, the stacks, and everything else, including, well, we did redo the carpet in the 2005, 2004, but everything else is the way it was when last renovation, and we need to get new furniture, we need to look at the flooring, we need to look at the stacks. And we have, a price there of 125 on that. It's just things that have been put off that we need to do. Milling and paving the parking lots, if you've been to the high school, especially the junior lot and the senior lot, that lot was paved in 1990, and it's not been repaved since 1990. And it's actually, we've lost it. I mean, it's gonna be a gravel parking lot pretty soon if we don't do something. So we wanna put some money in for landscaping, lecture hall seating and carpet. If you've been in our lecture hall, 5.3, we do have a 1.3 in remaining funds that we did not touch that will be used in case we get any cost overruns as far as classroom space. We're also waiting to see what happens with the county development in Madison Heights, but that would probably be in the 8 to 10 year realm versus the 5-year realm. But there could be some short-term things we have to do if those, they're starting to rent out some of the houses now in the new development, but some of the apartments, but they've done no work in the back end on like housing, family housing. So I think we have some time there. It's gonna be at least 4 years before those really start coming in. So I think we're okay there, but the short term, I would say Elon will be one of my big concerns as far as what we can do to get funding there. So I wanted to save as much money to the CIP as I can. Use this money at the high school to take off as much from the CIP as possible so we have more reserve in the CIP moving forward. We've had initial conversations with Mr. Bryan and the county on the fact that in the 8 to 10 year range, we will probably need to have a new school if all these projects come to fruition. And so we've already started laying some of that groundwork with them. So we know that, probably within the next 2 years, we need to start getting the county to start thinking about the funding mechanisms for that if those houses really start to connect. The projections, and I think you would be okay, middle school, and then Amherst Middle too has a lot more room that we could put more students in Amherst Middle. So we have some room at the middle school level. The elementary school level, we don't have any. High school, I feel we can adjust, the high school will be able to take on the projections